The film opens with a dramatic reimagining of the Titanic's final moments. As the ship sinks into the icy depths, Elizabeth, a desperate survivor, climbs onto a lifeboat to save herself. But fate has other plans. The lifeboat's cable snaps, sending everyone into the freezing water. Against all odds, Elizabeth manages to claw her way onto an overturned lifeboat, barely clinging to life. In the chaos, her boyfriend, Charles, spots her from a distance, perched precariously on an iceberg. Determined to save her, he plunges into the frigid water and swims toward her. Just as he's about to reach her, a chilling twist unfolds. A corpse suddenly grabs Elizabeth's hand and drags her into the abyss. The screen cuts to black, and we're transported years later, where a new ship, Titanic 3, has been built to retrace the ill-fated voyage of the original Titanic. The excitement is palpable as passengers board the ship, including a popular vlogger couple, Mia and Jackson, who are greeted by a swarm of fans. The ship's captain, Rose, reveals that this voyage is no ordinary one. Precious artifacts from the original Titanic are on board, guarded by a team of soldiers. But beneath the surface of this grand adventure, something sinister is brewing. A mysterious girl emerges from the shadows, sneaking through the ship with suspicious intent. She steals a crew uniform and makes her way to the onboard museum, where the Titanic's artifacts are displayed. As she examines an ancient violin, the manager confronts her, scolding her for touching the priceless relic. But the girl warns him of a curse. Disturbing the dead and their belongings will bring doom upon them all. Her ominous words are dismissed, but not before she steals a pen and a gold coin, hinting at her dark intentions. Meanwhile, Mia and Jackson continue their live stream, exploring the ship's grandeur. Their excitement turns to terror when they stumble upon the girl performing a chilling ritual in the ship's depths. She's conjuring black magic, summoning the spirits of the Titanic's past. Suddenly, the ship begins to tremble, and the vlogger's camera cuts out. Panicked, Jackson urges Mia to flee, but the supernatural forces at play are already closing in. As chaos unfolds, Captain Rose discovers that the ship's systems are failing, cutting off all communication with the outside world. The mysterious girl's ritual has awakened the spirits of the Titanic, including the ghost of her own great-grandfather, the original captain. The ship is now haunted by unseen forces, visible only to the audience. Mia and Jackson, still exploring, are drawn to the haunting melody of a violin. The music is enchanting at first, luring them into a dance, but it soon turns dissonant, echoing painfully through the ship. In a blink, Jackson vanishes into the darkness, leaving Mia alone and terrified. When she turns to seek help, she encounters the ghostly violinist, who claims her life with a final, deadly note. The crew discovers Mia's lifeless body, baffled by her sudden death. Captain Rose, now deeply concerned, orders an investigation. Reviewing Mia's last live stream, they see Jackson disappear into smoke in Mia's eerie final moments. Suspicion falls on the manager, who was seen arguing with Jackson earlier. Confronted by Rose, the manager denies any involvement, but the evidence against him mounts. As the ship descends further into chaos, the engineer attempts to restore communication, only to be confronted by a vengeful ghost. His efforts end in tragedy, leaving the ship completely isolated. With the crew unraveling and the spirits growing stronger, Captain Rose must uncover the truth behind the curse before the Titanic 3 meets the same fate as its predecessor. After the scene cuts, we return to the mysterious girl, who is once again performing her dark ritual. As her incantations grow louder, the engines of Titanic 3 roar back to life. The ship, which had been adrift in the middle of the sea, suddenly lurches forward. Captain Rose, sensing the movement, rushes to the control room, furious and confused. She demands to know who restarted the engines, but the crew delivers a chilling revelation: the ship's systems have been hacked. Despite multiple attempts to reboot, they've lost all control. The ship is now speeding toward the same iceberg that doomed the original Titanic. Panic sets in as the captain orders the engines to be reversed, but nothing responds. The crew is powerless. A crew member pulls Rose aside and leads her to the engine room, where the situation is even more dire. The engines are overheating, sparking dangerously, and the body of the engineer lies lifeless on the floor. Rose tries to radio the control room, but the signals are dead. The pressure in the engine room builds to a critical level, and the crew member drags Rose out just as a massive explosion rocks the ship. The blast sends tremors through the entire vessel, startling the guests in the ballroom. Rose attempts to calm everyone, assuring them that the situation is under control, but the truth is far more terrifying. The ship is now on a collision course with the iceberg, and no one can stop it. Meanwhile, a wealthy woman wearing an extravagant necklace is approached by another woman who compliments her jewelry. The wealthy woman thanks her, only to realize too late that the stranger is no ordinary passenger. The necklace tightens around her neck like a noose, suffocating her. The woman vanishes, revealing herself as one of the vengeful spirits haunting the ship. These ghosts are the souls of those who perished on the original Titanic, angered by the desecration of their belongings, which now sit in Titanic 3's museum. Captain Rose, desperate for help, manages to contact headquarters. She explains the dire situation and requests an emergency tugboat. However, she's met with devastating news: the nearest rescue is 2 hours away. With the ship hurtling toward the iceberg, time is running out. Amid the chaos, a young girl approaches Rose. She's a fan of MIA and Jackson's vlogs and has pieced together the horrifying truth. She shows Rose a video from Mia's camera, revealing the ghostly violinist who took her life. The girl warns Rose that the ship is now under the control of the spirits, but Rose dismisses her claims, refusing to believe in the supernatural. Elsewhere, the manager, locked in his room, is confronted by a ghost. Terrified, he tries to escape, but the ghost binds him to the bed, breathing heavily as it looms over him. The manager pleads for his life, and the ghost eventually releases him. When the captain's guards bring the manager to Rose, he's visibly shaken. He insists that the ship is haunted by the ghosts of the original Titanic and begs Rose to turn the ship back to New York. Rose, still skeptical, orders the manager to be locked up again, convinced he's lost his mind. As the guards escort the manager back to his room, they encounter the mysterious girl. She repeats her warning about the curse, accusing the manager of bringing this fate upon them by disturbing the dead. The girl smirks and cryptically says, "I know what's happening here," leaving the guards uneasy and the manager even more terrified. The tension aboard Titanic 3 reaches a boiling point as the ship races toward its doom. With the crew divided, the spirits growing stronger, and time slipping away, Captain Rose must confront the unthinkable. The curse of the Titanic is real, and it's determined to drag them all into the depths. The girl's cryptic words hang in the air as the guard locks her in a dimly lit room. Despite being confined, she remains eerily calm, repeating her ominous warning: "Everyone will die. No one will survive." Her chilling prophecy is interrupted by the sudden appearance of her great-grandfather, the ghost of the original Titanic's captain. The guard, terrified, fires a bullet at the apparition, but it passes straight through the ghost and strikes his own friend. In the chaos, the ship's lights flicker and die, plunging the Titanic 3 into darkness. The ghost, unbothered by the guard's futile attempt, grants the girl a surge of supernatural power. With a sinister smile, she effortlessly escapes the locked room, leaving the guard paralyzed with fear. Meanwhile, on the control deck, Captain Rose witnesses a fleeting glimpse of a ghostly figure. She orders the lights to be restored, but when they come back on, the apparition is gone. Rose dismisses it as a trick of her mind, but the tension in the air is undeniable. The girl soon arrives on the control deck, now empowered by her ghostly ancestor. With a wave of her hand, she seizes control of the ship's systems, steering it directly toward the infamous iceberg, the same one that doomed the original Titanic. Rose pleads with the girl, begging her to stop. "What do you want? If you do this, everyone will die, including you," she cries. The girl, unmoved, coldly replies, "It doesn't matter to me." The manager, trembling and desperate, bursts onto the scene. He stammers out a solution: "If we throw all the artifacts from the original Titanic overboard, the curse will break." But Rose, still skeptical, ignores his plea. The girl, now fully in control, smirks as the ship collides with the iceberg. The impact is catastrophic, and water begins flooding the lower decks. Panic erupts as passengers and crew scramble to save themselves. Amid the chaos, A greedy man attempts to steal a priceless artifact from the Titanic's museum. Mia's ghost appears, wielding a spectral gun, and shoots him dead. His ghost rises, and in a cruel twist of fate, he kills a co-worker who tries to save him, perpetuating the cycle of death. Captain Rose fights valiantly to deploy the lifeboats, but history repeats itself. The ropes snap, and the boats plunge into the icy water, taking their passengers with them. Rose refuses to give up, battling until the very end as the ship sinks beneath the waves. In the aftermath, the manager is shown clinging to an overturned lifeboat. He hears splashing nearby and sees Rose swimming toward him. He helps her onto the boat, but his relief quickly turns to guilt. "It was my fault," he confesses, laughing bitterly. "I stole those artifacts, and the ghosts killed everyone because of me." Rose, finally understanding the truth, tries to comfort him, saying, "It's not your fault." But when he doesn't respond, she turns to find him lifeless. Moments later, his ghost reanimates and kills her, sealing her fate. One by one, the souls of the Titanic III's passengers and crew are claimed by the vengeful spirits of the original Titanic. The film ends with the ship resting at the bottom of the ocean, its hulls now haunted by a new generation of ghosts. The curse of the Titanic lives on, a grim reminder that some secrets are better left buried in the depths.